Good morning, everyone. This is Jason Moneymansman, Distinguished DJ channel. Hope everyone's had a great week, or at least a better week than I have. As if you've been following our picks every week, you know that it's been a struggle this week. Losing week for the first time this year. Not too bad, thanks to Saturday being, a really sort of salvage day for us. We were able to salvage what was really turning out to be a disastrous week. Ended the week 19 and 20. So all in all, it could have been a lot worse. We were 6 games under 500 at the start of the week, which would have been disastrous if we had another bad day. Definitely we're able to rebound on that end thanks to a good day Saturday. Certainly if you haven't been checking out the weekly picks or the daily picks, I should say, what are you doing? Certainly go subscribe to the channel, like the content, doesn't cost you anything. And I give out my baseball picks every day. I know Big Bucks is trying to do hockey as best he can. He's been busy. We're definitely going to have some football content coming up. Definitely some UFC content coming up potentially as well. So we're going to try and stay busy, give you guys as much as we can. So definitely, check that out if you haven't already. But a little bit more in terms of the record. All in all, even though we had our first losing week of the year, we really have had a good sort of start to the MLB season. 111 and 83 overall, almost 30 games under over 500. So that's a good start. 23 and 15 on the best bets. That's been good for us. So all in all, good start to the year. We certainly want to improve on that, have a better week. And what I would say is that's really going to start on Sunday. Already put that pick video out, have 8 picks for today, being aggressive. And the hope is that if we could finally get off to a good start to the week, that could sort of propel us for the rest of the week. Whereas it seems like week after week, we're always playing catch up from behind, and it's just making it a lot harder and requires us to really do well later in the week, which thankfully we've been able to do. But that's really enough. In terms of the record side and the betting side. I wanted to get to some of the other topics. And really, this episode, you saw the title, the focus of it is going to be Big Trouble in the Big Apple. And why do I say that? Because both New York teams are in a lot of trouble for different reasons. On the Yankees side, I mean, again, it's a long season. I'm not saying the Yankees are done. They can make the playoffs. Hell, they can win the division. You saw they beat the Rays yesterday in a close game, so they're not completely inept. But right now, I mean, their lineup is really, really decimated by injuries. And not even just their lineup, but even their starting rotation as well. You look at Luis Severino, Carlos Rodon may not pitch till September. You look at Aaron Judge is out of the lineup. Giancarlo Stanton is out of the lineup. Harrison Bader just came back to the lineup, and we don't really know what he's going to turn out to be. But the point is, with the Yankees, they're being decimated by injuries, and if you talk to a lot of Yankees fans, the trouble for them really is that they put together a very old baseball team with a lot of people with history of injuries. And when you do that, the chances are these guys are going to continue to get injured. Now, you may say, you know, what's the problem with that? The problem is that the Yankees do not have the depth that they used to 3, 4 years ago. I mean, in the past, it seemed like guy got hurt, there was a Gio Urshela who would come up and hit 370. Or there was an Aaron Judge who, they call up middle of the year and hits, 50 home runs, or a Gary Sanchez who does well, or a Gleyber Torres who back in the day was a good prospect. And now you look at it, I mean, their lineup is really top heavy because you have Rizzo, you have LeMahieu, you can never pronounce his name, um, who were sort of the two linchpins in that lineup. And then you have a lot of guys who are sort of hit or miss. Volpe, like what I've seen from him, he brings some speed. He brings a new dynamic. He's hitting in the 220s, 230s. You have Gleyber Torres, who's, not been the guy sort of that people maybe expected. Willie Calhoun. You get the Willie Calhouns of the world and the Bowers of the world and the Jose Trevinos and the Kyle Higashiokas, which again, don't get me wrong, some of those guys could get hot. We saw Harrison Bader with the big home run. Kyle Higashioka the other day had a big pinch hit. Trevino's had some good hits. But that's not really like what you expect out of the Yankees. And let me tell you, their division is juiced. If you look at the results in the American League East, the Rays are fantastic. The Red Sox have won 15,000 games in a row. Okay, not really, but you get the idea. Toronto has bounced back 1-2 against the Pirates. Baltimore keeps winning. They're playing a good series in Atlanta. I mean, you have 5 teams in that division who are really good. And the Yankees can't afford to really get behind the 8 ball because a lot of these teams, it's going to be a stacked American League East in and of itself. And then you're dealing with, the Angels have gotten off to a decent start, Rants notwithstanding. Texas is pretty decent. The question is whether Seattle sort of steps up. What is Houston going to be? Houston, especially if Altuve or when Altuve comes back, they're going to be a different team. You look at the Central, Cleveland's a okay team, Minnesota. So you have teams in the American League that are going to be competing. And I'll tell you what, I think, those last 2 wild card spots, there's going to be a ton of takers for, who's going to be in the playoffs. So the Yankees need to get healthy sooner rather than later. They need to keep treading water, which is, after a sort of disastrous stretch on their last road trip, they had a bounce back series against Cleveland. I actually think they're going to take 2 or 3 from the Rays today, and that's what they need to do. And especially Garrett Cole needs to keep being Garrett Cole for them. Otherwise, the Yankees could be in some serious, serious trouble there. So, big trouble for the Yankees. A lot that they have to overcome. But I've sort of saved it, and I've been saving this one for a while. Let's talk about the other team. And if you guys don't know, I'm a Mets fan by trade. Well, I guess I try and be a gambler first, Mets fan second, but it doesn't always work out that way. That's what happens when you're an amateur. But the New York Mets right now are absolute dog shit. I mean, if you look at, they lose a series to Washington. The Braves run roughshod over them like they're not even a fucking baseball team. You go to Detroit. Max Scherzer gets lit up like a Christmas tree. Edward Rodriguez pitched a fucking gem. Could have had a complete game shutout. The Mets he could have pitched 18 innings. The Mets wouldn't have hit him. And now the Mets, you have a home series against Colorado, and I think they're going to lose this series because, like I said in today's video, Feltner's been pitching well. Joey Lucchese's pitching on 3 days rest. He got lit up by the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers had the worst offense in the American League. But the Mets starting pitching is that bad. The Mets starting pitching is so bad that the Tigers were hitting home runs out of Comerica Ballpark left and right. And the Mets offense is a joke. I mean, let's be honest. You look at that lineup, there's not one fucking guy on that team you're afraid of. Other than maybe Pete Alonso, who's struggling. And you see why. I mean, he's the only guy on the fucking team. He's the only dangerous spot on this team right now. Francisco Lindor hitting 200s. Marte hitting 200s. Brandon Nimmo, good player, good in the leadoff. He's been good for us, but he's not a guy who's going to scare you. He's a guy, let's be honest, 2-1, you challenge him with a fastball. If he gets a hit, he gets a hit. Jeff McNeil struggling a little. And then the back of their lineup, forget about it. Now, Beatty's come in, he's hitting okay. But you look at the other guys, catcher is a black hole for them. I'm sorry to say. Alvarez may be good one day. He hasn't hit yet. Nito's an automatic out. Fucking, who are the other guys? Guillorme is a bench player, role player, fucking shit. They have no backup. They have no depth that could hit at all. They're bad. I mean, they're just a bad fucking baseball team right now. The Mets are really, really bad. Really bad. And I don't know where they go. I mean, their rotation is back. Now, you have to be positive. Verlander pitched well. Max Scherzer, terrible start to the year. Horrendous. Joey Lucchesi, he's not the guy you want fucking pitching for you in big games. Tyler McGill, not impressed. David Peterson's ass is in the minors because he was shit. Kodai Sengai. And let's be honest, there's a reason why I only bet the Mets when he pitches. Kodai Sengai has been the bright spot. He's almost single-handedly, 6 innings, no earned runs against the Rockies. Now, you would normally say, well, it's against the Rockies. They suck. Well, the Rockies have been playing good baseball. They've been getting better pitching lately. And their offense is coming around. Imagine if they get the same pitching and their offense comes around. They might be, I'm not saying a playoff team, but they're going to be a tough out. They've been a tough out for the Mets the past 2 days. So it's down times for a Mets fan. I mean, out of the two teams, I'd worry more about the Mets because you know what? The Yankees, they got a lot of injuries. But you know that they have some bombers waiting in the wings to come back. This Mets team, I don't know. Is Lindor like done? Do we know what he is? His defense is good, but hitting 220, I mean, we can't survive that. We can't survive Marte hitting 220, and he doesn't run to first base half the time. I'm wondering if he's injured. I mean, Alonso goes in a slump. This offense dies. I mean, this offense is dreadful. I mean, it's tough to watch this team because they don't hit like ever. As a Mets fan, it's hard. It hurts. Going betting the Rockies on Sunday plus 1.5. I mean, why not? The Mets might win 2-1. I don't know how they're minus 200 favorites today. Joey Lucchesi, what has he done in his career? What did he do against Detroit last time? Got shelled. So, really, really bad start for the New York Metropolitans. So, again, trouble in New York, trouble with their baseball teams. I think the Yankees will be fine. I have concerns about the Mets. I think the Mets and Phillies are in a lot of trouble because Phillies, same thing. Phillies are getting no pitching either. Now, they're playing the Red Sox. They might have a bounce back. I mean, the Red Sox are on fire. But a lot of these teams, and I don't want to get too far into a tangent, but I'll tell you, there's some teams, and I'm going to get into the next one. Well, let me get into the next one. St. Louis Cardinals, can we stop with them? How are they a 1-2 favorite, minus 200 every fucking game? I mean, this team sucks. Now, I haven't bet them, but I don't know. If you're out there and you listen to this channel and you bet the Cardinals every day, I don't know. You need to watch more. You need to sort of listen to what we're saying because this Cardinals team is a disaster on wheels. Their pitching sucks. They don't hit. They don't really do anything right. I mean, how many games in a row have they lost? 7, 8? They're 10-24. In the analytics community, I mean, that's the one danger with the analytics community. They're always waiting for the other shoe to drop and having no bankroll while they're doing it. I mean, you just go imagine you just pound money into St. Louis every day. And, well, eventually. I mean, today, okay, the Tigers have some scrub pitching, bullpen guy. How could you possibly, the way that series is gone, the way the Tigers are playing baseball, how could the Cardinals be a minus 200 with Steven fucking Matz on the mound? Flaherty got lit up like a Christmas tree last time out. Steven Matz is no good. They were a big favorite with Wainwright, who hadn't pitched all year. I mean, it's just, I don't understand some of the numbers that are getting put up for some of these teams. The Phillies, they've been a favorite in every game against the Red Sox. Now, I was stupid. I bet on the Phillies one of those games. had faith in Zach Wheeler. That was, when I say it out loud, it sounds pretty fucking stupid to me. Having faith in Zach Wheeler. But some of these lines, the Mets are minus 200 every game. Why? Are you watching? Do you see this fucking team's offense? The first game, it was 1-0. It should have been 7-0. They left guys on base every fucking inning. At least if the Rays are minus 200, it makes sense. It's crazy. St. Louis is a giant favorite every day. Why? Are they going to win? Can they win a game first? Minus 200 with Steven Matz on the mound. Are you out of your mind? Again, I couldn't bring myself to bet Detroit today, but I'm just saying, like, some of these plays. That's why so many of the sharps are struggling. One of the podcasts I listened to, like, oh, bad start to the MLB season. Well, no shit. You're fucking pounding money on the goddamn St. Louis Cardinals every day. Of course you're going to lose. The Houston Astros, another one. At least the market's starting to wisen up with the Astros that they're not that great without Tuve gone, because they've been another team that's sort of sputtering. And you see, I mean, the picks, a lot of Houston to begin the year, a lot less Houston now, especially against good teams. Just some of the numbers don't make sense. And today the numbers were really bad. Like, why is Boston an underdog again? Against Taijuan Walker, who's gotten shelled, I think, his last 2 starts. I bet against him last time, and he gave up 8 runs in 2 innings. In Citizens Bank Ballpark, the little, short porch. The way the Red Sox are playing, how do we have any faith in Taijuan Walker should not be a favorite in anything? Now, it's a small favorite, but why is he a favorite at all? Red Sox minus 120, 130. It just don't make sense. Some of these teams, man, it's just I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing about the Mets. I don't want to hear about the Mets either. They suck. Minus 200. They don't deserve to be a favorite in any game they play. I mean, they may eventually when they start playing good teams. And let me tell you another thing about the Mets. And then I'll wrap this video up. I'm starting to get angry and go a little long. But this is your weekly recap, kind of how the week's gone for me and sort of some of the angers I've had. I mean, you look at the Mets and they have a really light schedule, and then they play the next 14 series, I think, against teams with winning records. I mean, they could be out of it. There are some teams, well, let's be honest, danger zone. If the Yankees injuries, like, they need to tread water because they could very easily fall off a cliff. St. Louis has already fallen off a cliff. Now they've gotten lucky. The Brewers have forgotten how to play baseball. They're completely sputtering. The Pirates have run into a couple tough series. They played the Rays, they played the Blue Jays. It's funny how when the competition gets better, but St. Louis, they can't even beat the fucking Tigers. So I don't know. They can't beat anybody. They never win a series. They lost to Arizona. They lost to the Tigers. They lose to everyone. 10-24. So I guess that's the story. It's early in the baseball season, but some of these teams are running out of time. So they really need to step it up before it's too late. So we've almost gone 20 minutes. I think that's sufficient recap for week 5. Like I said, no Schlager Sunday today. So I'll just go. I'll put it in front of the camera there. Yeah, no. None of this today, unfortunately, because Goldschlagers for winners. And we did not win this week. But you know what? I think we're going to have a good Sunday. I really have faith because I think some of these lines are really bad. I think we're going to have a good Sunday. And if I could have a good Sunday, we could have a good Sunday. We could really hit the week running and maybe potentially have our best week of the year. Maybe this is the turning point. We needed a bad week, flush it down the system, some weird results. Maybe we could really hit the ground running this week. So thanks for everyone who tuned in. Obviously, check out any portion of the video you want. I'm sure there'll be some shorts to sort of promote it later. Have some other content coming on. So, feel free to like, subscribe, follow the channel. Thank you so much to Oh, one last thing. And this will be a separate short as well, because this is something I wanted to say before. Thank you to everyone who's been viewing. We've really started to sort of this was kind of an alternate channel to begin with, and now it's going to be sort of the main channel for the distinguished DJs. And thank you everyone to have 50 subscribers, well now close to 60 subscribers, to have I think on our shorts videos, we're up to, like a ridiculous amount, like 30,000 views or something, maybe even more than that now. I know it's not a lot. There are YouTubers out there with, 2 million views on one video. Like, I get it. It's not that much what we've done, but really, thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel recently. Thank you to everyone who's viewing the channel. Continue to do so. We're here to have fun, try and make money, rage, be happy, celebrate, go through all the human emotions of, gambling and being a sports fan. So, once again, thank you to everyone who subscribed. Thank you to everyone who's following these videos, watching, even if it's for, a few minutes, a few seconds. We appreciate everything, trying to grow the channel. So thank you, everyone. And as always, D-Gents, make that motherfucking money. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week of baseball, betting, life, whatever it is you're doing. All the best.